What's up, guys? I'm RJ Savage. The Nashville Fit magazine's asked me to share my story, so let's go. Back, man, it would start probably around 16 when I started that. Leading up to that, man, I was in sports, growing up since I was 5 years old. Had my license, and that's where we quit playing sports, got into drugs, selling drugs, music, and just kind of following the crowd, man. Like, ended up in the wrong crowd. And I was always blessed, man. I had both my parents. I was raised right. I was raised right, but I went my own way. And yes, 16, 17, 18 years old, I was really into the drugs a lot. And got arrested here and there. And then I guess it was around 19, I'd OD'd and died. And friends there was trying to give me CPR. They obviously already called the ambulance, whatnot. I'm not breathing, couldn't get me to come back. My buddy at the time said something, told him to throw me in the bathtub, turned the shower on cold. It shocked my heart. The ambulance got there, took me to the hospital. So that was a big wake-up call. And I'm a believer, man, and I believe God spared my life because He had a bigger plan for me. And I was always told that. I never really, teenager, man, just blocking it out. And then quit doing drugs and because of my jobs. So random drug tests, couldn't afford to lose my job. I was 20 years old. We were going on a family vacation to Florida. And, me and my sister both got to bring a friend. We always do family vacation. And to sum that up, man, we got on some drugs down there. We met somebody, and we ended up doing some bad things, man, and robbing people at gunpoint. And got caught, got arrested, and was living it a long time in prison, man. And thankfully for my parents, never rich. My dad used a lot of his retirement money to get me the best lawyer because they didn't want their son going to prison. And I ended up getting out of going for 5 years of supervised, strict probation, wanted house arrest, all that. And if I had messed up, I was serving a full 10 years in prison. So that was where my 360 came. Because once that happened and I got to finally come home, it was only a few months later I found out I had a daughter. She was 6 months old already at the time. So imagine, I'm 20 years old, man. Like, I didn't know what to do. I wasn't ready to be a dad, so I wasn't the greatest dad, man. Like, I got her, every, once a week and on the weekends and whatnot. But a lot of the time, man, I just wasn't there. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have the patience. Thankfully, my parents and everybody helped out, and I'm a better father today. But that's where I got into the gym, man. I had some buddies like, hey, why don't you come work out? So I did, and immediately, just like my body just responded well, and that became my high. That became the bar. That became the drugs. And then it was, I was training, working out, didn't really know much about food or anything. Was just eating whatever and still working out. And then some, people were like, man, you need to get in the bodybuilding. I'm like, I'm not wearing a Speedo. Like, that's the only thing I thought. I'm like, I'm not wearing a Speedo. They're like, dude, come on. They kept on and kept on, right? And that's what sometimes we need, is someone else to see in us what we don't see. Right. And they were seeing that. Finally, I was like, fine, I'll do a show. They'd already lined up, like, who would coach me and do that. And I did my first show at the Tennessee State Show here in Tennessee in 2011, and I won my class. And after that, man, I was hooked. And that discipline that I got, man, is what carried me to where I am today. It's what saved my life, honestly. And I just kept competing, man. And at first, I did let it consume me. I was neglecting a lot of things. I had to be in the gym. I had to, couldn't miss, right? Just had to be there. And then I finally found that balance because I was neglecting family and stuff, and I was losing relationships. Found that balance. I guess it was 2016. People again, why don't you train people? So finally, I was in the middle of the airport laying asphalt for my dad one day, company, and I was like, I'm doing it. Middle of the day, called him up, told him, hey Dad, I'm done laying asphalt. I'm going home and get the certification, start my own training business. And he was, I don't want you doing this anyways, but like, he's done it his whole life. He's made a good living, but it's hard, stressful work. And so told the foreman right then, he wished me luck. I went home, got on the couch, on my phone, took my certification test, passed it. Next day was training clients and never looked back. And here I am, almost, 7 years later and running a very successful, training business, man. And I'm just thankful, man. But the bodybuilding career just is what kept me going in that direction, man, and in the discipline. And then I realized, like, okay, you know what? I could actually do something with this bodybuilding, man. Like, I could actually make it to, the professional level. And that became my goal. And I was relentless, man. I wasn't going to stop until I got it. And 2020 came around, and that was the year I knew I was going to get it, because 2019 I just missed it by one place. So I'm like, this is my year. Well, then COVID happens. They kept shutting shows down, pushing shows back, and I was staying ready. I was literally just within weeks of, I'm ready. Like, let them pick a show, let them, keep a date, and we're gonna make it happen. And they finally did. And I went to Charleston, and it ended up not going the way I wanted. I ended up taking 5th place. So I was upset, and there was a show the next weekend in Pittsburgh called North Americans. It's one of the biggest national level shows in the country. And I'd already heard, like, from COVID, it was going to be outside in the tent, no spectators allowed. It wasn't even in the picture to do. And, coach and some other people was like, dude, you need to do this. And I was like, fine. Well, I had to do this on my own because no spectators were allowed to come, nobody could come watch, so it wasn't any. So it was just me and God. I had to put my trust in Him and just do this on my own by myself. And man, when I tell you, that was the best day of my life, how everything went was perfectly designed for me for that day. And I went to Pittsburgh, man, and I flew in on Friday, checked in. It was a business trip. I was only gone for not even 24 hours. Checked in, went and weighed in and checked in. Next morning, got up, seen my coach. We did our fill-out process, went on stage, and this time, because of the COVID restrictions, you didn't have a morning and night show. We went on for pre-judging and came back around and then went back on for finals. I was a pro. First place, over 20 people, it was the best feeling in the world, man, to accomplish that. If I was gonna talk to that younger me, back then, when I was sitting in that cell, I would definitely tell myself that I know what I'm capable of, and I can do anything that I want to do in this life. There's nothing that can hold me back, and just to follow my dreams, man. Because dreams do come true. If you put the work in, they do come true, no matter what. As long as you're relentless and you keep going and you keep getting up, no matter how many times you get knocked down. Because I've been knocked down so many times, but I never, ever stay down. I always get back up, man. So I would just tell, anybody that's listening and watching this, guys, don't listen to anybody. Do what you want to do with your life. And I promise you, as long as you keep going and you don't give up and you have discipline, it will work out in your favor.